What's up, guys? If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that will allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and much more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
Welcome to That Entrepreneur Life, a podcast about entrepreneurship that takes you from idea to launch and beyond. Each week, your hosts, Andrew Lees and Clint McPherson, discuss different business topics aimed at adding value to any entrepreneur's journey.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of That Entrepreneur Life. I'm Andrew Lees, and today I'm flying solo. Clint's out, but I'm super excited to jump into this episode today. I got a very special guest on the show, and he's a serial entrepreneur, podcaster, and a digital marketing expert. He wrote an ebook called Carrying the Fire, and he's passionate about helping businesses stand out from their competition. Before I introduce our special guest today, I want to remind you to subscribe to our podcast and to our mailing list through our website so you don't miss out on all the free resources we have to help you start and grow your business. With that said, I'd like to welcome our special guest, Shane Whelan, to the show. How's it going today, man?
I'm doing good, Andrew. Thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, real pleasure to have you on. Excited to get into this. So let's just jump right in. Can you take us back to when your entrepreneurial journey started? And what is it about entrepreneurship that really gets you fired up?
So I had taken a break from college to come home and make some money. And I had gotten out of school and I had just kind of floated along, right? And I just remember one day just driving to work, silently crying to myself because I just hated my life, right? Yeah. I'm working a shovel all day. And I had always just really thrown myself into things, music and sports and whatever. And now I'm like this, adult. Yeah. And I just was just empty. And it wasn't until I got the right encouragement from the right people that I started an LLC. Okay. And even though, but that's when everything took off. Not took off, but emotionally, like my heart was on fire. Where it was like, it was, endless 12-hour days of passing out flyers. I'm like, this is it. This is what I was meant to do, wherever this is going to take me. And so, that's how I started.
Okay.
I was so angry that no one in my family told me to do that. You know what I mean? Where it's like, this is it. Like I'm eating, ramen noodles every day, but this is it,
Yeah. And, I mean, I think I can definitely understand that. And I wonder if behind that feeling, behind that excitement about doing that, because you just kind of pointed out without saying it that it's not easy and that there's a lot of hard work, but it sounded like you were really almost like excited about that hard work, excited to just pound pavement and do what you had to do for your business.
Yeah. Well, when I realized, my destiny was in my own hands, that was kind of freeing. Yeah. Because I had had so many crappy jobs, right? But the things I was passionate about, those were the things I was super successful in. So, yeah. Yeah,
exactly. And I think for me, the thing that gets me the most excited about entrepreneurship and business in general is having that potential. It's the potential of doing better every day, every month. So there's really no limit, or there's I guess at some point there's some theoretical limit on every business, right? But the limit is so much higher than if you are an employee working for somebody else. Not that that's anything like, I'm not, definitely feel like entrepreneurs sometimes get a bad reputation for just dumping on, being an employee. But look, I think that potential.
I've got a lot of close friends that make great money, way more money than I do, but they have nowhere near the level of freedom. You know what I mean? Like
that's it. Yeah.
We can't go hang out for the weekend. We can't go up north. We can't, you know what I mean? And there's always a yin to that yang. There's always pros and cons. So
Yeah. And do you ever think about, because I do this too, do you ever think about, where they are? And some days you're like, man, I could care less that anybody's making any more money than me, but I'm just on doing my thing. But then some day, other days I'm like, ooh, going through this whole entrepreneurial journey, there's days where I'm just like, almost wish that I had that structure, that I was, in one of those jobs, like a finance job where I'm just making tons of money and I had been in it for years, and, I'm already well established. And then like, as soon as I have that thought, it clicks me back into like, well, that's great, but my potential, like I'm building something for the future. So I'm building something with equity, just like a home, except a million times better.
Yeah. Like I said, there's pros and cons to everything. And when you're the captain of your own ship, there's that much more fuel and motivation, and you're not like, I know guys on salary, they're working 80, 70 hours. I mean, they're making great money,
right?
But there's just something about it. And you see it in politics. You see governors who are entrepreneurs. They're fantastic in politics. Like you have a different perspective on the world and how things work,
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And that flexibility is critical. I think I'd always rather make less money. If I had the choice, I'd always rather make less money and have more freedom, more flexibility. 100%.
100%.
Yeah. So Shane, there's a lot of noise out there there's millions of businesses literally who are trying to get in front of the right customers, vying for their attention. As entrepreneurs, how can we cut through that and stand out from our competitors?
I think you kind of just said it. I think in this era, this internet era, there's so much bombasticness and loudness and, hey, so-and-so is exposed, and I think when we can do the opposite, when we can get in front of Mrs. Jones, and I'm not sure like what a majority of your audience does, but when you can get in front of Mrs. Jones, and, I love the old quote, the loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room. It's the quiet guy in the corner that you're interested in, right? So I think we can do that. And that's how we're going to stand out, right? That's how, and you're almost creating, you ever see like a good movie trailer and you like, oh man, when that movie comes out, like life is going to be good. When Top Gun 2 comes out, it's been delayed.
Yeah. If it ever comes out. Yeah.
Like you can't, when is it going to get out?
Yeah.
But when Top Gun 2 comes out, like that life will be good. And so we can create anticipation and mystery and intrigue and draw people in, as opposed to beating them over the head with this is why we're the best. This is why we're this, That's when we create a real connection. We can charge our normal prices. We can create an ally in the marketplace that is just going to refer the crap out of us. Right. And so by holding back, creating some intrigue, some suspense, some mystery, and creating anticipation for when you do work together. You already know you're the best one for the job, right? Know in your bones, no one cares more than you. No one's going to do a better job. And that's how you create an amazing customer experience.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny that you brought up Top Gun, because I was actually thinking about that literally a day or two ago. Cause I like, on a personal note, I can't, I'm like so annoyed with them that they haven't released that yet. It was supposed to be released a while ago. They keep pushing it back. But I was literally a couple of days thinking about it in terms of like the branding and the marketing of it, because I'm so pissed that it hasn't come out yet, but I'm so excited for it to come out. I keep thinking like, I'm just not going to watch it. Like, screw it. They're playing games. They could easily release it. Right.
It's the biggest, it's a sequel, almost 30 years in the making.
Yeah.
And it's Top Gun, but I think they want that big box office, when COVID is done.
Right.
So they just the movie's been done for however many years.
Right. Yeah. It's been
that big payday.
Been done for a while. Yeah. And I think that makes sense for sure. But I'm like annoyed on one hand. And then on the other hand, I'm like, I still can't wait to see it, So, and I was thinking about how that, relates to like business and marketing, and with, why do I, even though I'm like any other movie, if it was a new movie and they were and they just kept delaying, it would have to be they would have to have a really good story to hook me in to want to be that excited about a movie that I knew nothing about. Because it's Top Gun, there's history there. It's a sequel. I know the first one was amazing. Even if the second one's not amazing, I can't wait to see it because that history. But it's kind of interesting when we're starting from scratch, how do we create that same amount of anticipation and excitement? And maybe it's with really good storytelling.
Yeah, I think when, we're all so bogged down in our daily riffraff, our daily stuff. And when we can have something that comes along that pulls us out of that, our daily, we all have it. We all have some unrealized potential or broken dreams or just the daily monotony of life that when something can come along and take us out of that, or potentially could take us out of that, that's when it's like, and I think that's what we need to offer our customers. We offer them an experience, right? And I used to tell our guys, we want to be like a good song. They might not know the words or the lyrics. They just like the way the song makes them feel. And when you can create an experience that is like that for your prospects and your customers, that's when you can charge the prices that you're worth. That's when you can have referral machines in the marketplace, the reviews you want, whatever you need. I mean, the favors that people do, like the cool things, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think it's important to focus on that. It's really difficult sometimes because, you're just talking about how we're all bogged down. Even in business, we're bogged down with a lot of different things we have to do. And there's things we have to execute on every day. And those tasks can sometimes take us away from the creativity of our product or our service. And I know I struggle with that, where I'm just like, man, I need to see results. I need to be sort of like, I start getting kind of robotic about it. And I forget to put the creativity and the emotion into it. And, really, I forget sometimes to really connect with my customers and potential customers too. And, we do that with ads and with content, and, and it's just really important to really focus on that, because it's never been easier to get in front of people online, right? Than, 20, 30 years ago, you're trying to get in front of people offline. It was a lot more expensive, a lot more difficult. You're talking about physical advertisements. Now there's so much that's digital and trackable and all this really cool stuff. But because, like, I was actually just about to run a Google ad for my business, I can get that set up in 5 minutes. I can run a Google ad in less than that, really. But is it going to convert? That's what separates. And I know that I have to put a lot into my copy, my, hook. Like, how am I convincing somebody that I know how to solve their problem? I can help solve their problem. And then once they get to my landing page, they're not like, what the hell is this? So it's super important to connect all those dots all along the way. And I think that's probably what separates the successful ones from the not successful ones.
Yeah. And I think when a lot of times, especially when it's stressful or we like really need that new customer, we start to focus on how we feel and whether we're nervous or we're like, we start selling, we start hard selling. This is why we're the best. This is why we're this. This is why we're this. But when you can get in front of Mrs. Jones and instead of looking inward, look outward.
Yeah.
Focus on even from every touch point of the customer journey, right? Whether they call to inquire about your services or email, when you can focus on how they're feeling. I come from the invisible fence world. That's in the past, but I remember the name of her dog. We write it down, the breed, and learn some cool fact, some really cool unknown fact about that breed.
Okay.
Or Mrs. Jones just moved in from out of town and she's tired and she's stressed and she's a single mom. Offering value that is going to pull them out of their riffraff. They don't care about you, and whatever that is. When you come outward and provide whatever that is, that's when you're doing it, in my opinion. When you can off-sell. When push comes to shove and hey, are you legit? Are you competent? Do you have reviews? Are you certified? Whatever that is. Okay, yeah, then you can answer those questions. But I think you should save that as the last resort, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, I love it, man. So we're talking about how to get in front of, or what to do to differentiate ourselves from our competition. Quick question: organic traffic or paid ads? What do you like better and why?
Well, for me, I came from such a cutthroat world that I couldn't run paid ads.
Okay.
From
Too expensive?
No, from fraudulent clicks. And there's even like there's a number of specialized softwares out there that will protect you from that.
Yeah, I've seen those.
They're not legit. It didn't work for me.
Really?
So okay. I was all about the organic. I built a company off of organic ranking and referrals. So we had an airtight referral system that just did wonders for us. Referrals are the best type of customers to get. There's no customer acquisition cost. You can charge, their friends and family have already vouched for you. They love you. So you can charge your normal premium prices. And as far as the market, so I was all in on organic rank. So we ranked very well organically. To this day, we do. Yeah,
I'm 100% with you. I think paid ads, if it's not in that cutthroat environment, if you're not getting, like if bots aren't wasting your money and your clicks, then, and you're getting like really legit clicks, I think advertising is great because you can test things out. You can test different keywords and see what the value is of different keywords and what maybe you should then focus on with your content, right? And you can test out different landing pages. There's a lot of testing you can do. You can get traffic quickly, you can get business quickly, but it's not sustainable long-term because I don't like the fact that once you turn off those ads, you're done. Your business can drop off a cliff very quickly.
I mean, if there's a lever that you can pull that's going to print you, for every $1 you put in, you get $6 back.
Yeah.
If that lever's there, I would use that lever.
Sure.
I wish I could run Google ads. With my main old business, I wish I could have, but I couldn't.
Right.
You just got to get way more creative. But I think if it works for you,
go for it.
There's some testing there. You might have to burn a little cash at first, but if it's there, hey man, pull that lever. The organic will always be there. The referrals will always be there. But if you've got a lever that's going to print you money, name the thing: Home Advisor, Angie's List, Facebook ads, pay-per-click. Use it. I say use it.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. So how did you know that your clicks were malicious or, scam clicks? Scam clicks, but you know what I mean?
I mean, because it was like a 0%, zero conversion.
Return. Yeah.
I mean, our website was legit. All the correct call to actions were there.
Right.
It worked great on mobile. And a lot of the clicks were mobile clicks really early in the morning. They just eat up our budget. So it was pretty clear it was a targeted thing. And so, but I came from the invisible fence world, which it's a one-time service. Once you have an invisible fence installed, like that's it, as opposed to window washing or whatever, where it's like, you can get your windows washed and your house washed and, all that done 3 or 4 times a year.
Yep.
With invisible, it's a one-time service. So what it does, it creates an industry of almost mentally ill people who they're always on the lookout for that next job. And so when someone comes along that, makes a quick 6-figure dent in a tiny niche market, people freak out.
Yeah. Okay.
It's my interpretation. People just freak out. They'll start writing bad reviews about you. They don't even try to hide the fact that they're competitors. And then all of a sudden all of a sudden you take a look at your own AdWords account and thousands and thousands of dollars gone
with no return.
Yeah. And then it was like, all right, let's switch marketing companies. And, they see it. Okay, well, Shane, we get it. Here, we got this software, blah, blah, blah. They couldn't stop it. They couldn't stop. You can block IPs, but it doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, and find a way around it. Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of content marketing for sure. And that's something I know I need to get better at. But then affiliate marketing is is incredible. And I feel like that's sort of in between at paid ads and content, where content takes a while. It takes months, looking at like 8 to 12 months to start really ranking and start really getting that organic traffic. Ads are, but it's relatively inexpensive, although you're either spending a lot of time writing the copy or the content, or you're having somebody else do it and you're paying them. So it's not free. But I feel like it's less expensive typically than paid ads. But what I love about affiliate marketing, getting, like you said, people in the industry who can refer your business, is they're the best kind of customer because they're already vetted. They already trust that level of trust is already very high, and they're very likely to do business with you if everything lines up. If you're going to offer what they need and you can do it at a fair price.
And people don't think to ask for referrals. When you say, "Hey, Mrs. Jones, hey, we just wanted to say thank you for choosing us to do business."
Yeah.
Hey, just so you know, we are a small family-owned business. If you know anyone who could use our services, send them our way. I promise we'll take great care of them. Boom.
Yeah.
When you can stay top of mind, come Christmas, come Thanksgiving, come whenever, or just maybe a reminder they could use your services, whatever. But when people want to refer you, they just don't think to do it. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When you can kind of switch it up, it's free money. It's just, you can squeeze 30% more profit out of your business. So
exactly. And it's critical for a business where the lifetime value is lower than, like, it's a product or a service that it's one time and done, because you really do need to squeeze. You need to get as much traction out of every customer as you possibly can, because that this product or service that has, they're selling to you, they're selling the product over and over and over again to you, that lifetime value is high. They know that they can lose money they can have even a negative return initially, because they know they're going to make it up for it in the back end, but you don't have that luxury. So you got to, like you said, squeeze everything you can out of every customer.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it's kind of money that's on the table that people just don't. And especially when you can automate that process or have an actual system in place that's going to generate referrals for you, and generate, you can just squeeze that much more money out of the tree,
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. So yeah, Shane, what is the biggest mistake that you see with your clients? What's a mistake that they're making the most, and why is that? What's holding them back from really reaching their full potential?
The biggest mistake I see with my clients, gosh, I would say not being able to stand out. Like I said, being able to stand out in the online world is kind of a learned skill. But once you get past that, it's kind of just the same loud noise that we hear everywhere, that same bump. So by deliberately holding back, right, by creating some anticipation, some suspense, that is when you draw people in. Shut up about yourself. Like if when push comes to shove, if they're gonna, really grab you by the throat, all right, start selling. But you already know you're the best one for the job, right? And that's when you can really create connection and generate revenue, in my opinion. I'd say that's the biggest mistake. Shut up and look outward.
Yeah. And don't let, like we were talking about earlier, don't let your fear of maybe not making sales, or, you're hitting a slow patch or whatever, don't let that fear start turning you into, turning you into like a salesy kind of person, where you're really pushing sales and you're not just focused as much on, hey, what do my customers really need? I want to connect with that. I want to identify that, and let me help them. Because at the end of the day, I feel like business, if you're helping people and you're giving them value, they're willing to pay for that almost every time. So you'll end up doing well. Yeah.
When you can offer real value, when you're cool, when you're like, it's like a good song. You don't know the lyrics of the word. You just like the way it feels. Right.
Yeah.
You can come in, take care of business, be the warm, fuzzy blanket that just makes them go,
Yeah. Finally, somebody gets it. Finally, there's a solution there
right.
Yep.
They get me. Right.
Yep.
And you're just refreshing to be around. They don't understand it. They just know they like it.
Yep. Yeah. And especially in industries that are really saturated, like if you're starting a marketing consulting company or whatever, there's so many other people doing that you really do have to, you have to kind of have your people, have your tribe and connect with them, and not try and be everything for everybody, because you also have to recognize that, like, hey, there's competition out there, and that's okay. They're doing something, they're connecting with their own tribe. They've got their own solution to these problems that they're able to, it just resonates better with their audience, but you have to figure out who your audience is and how do you really resonate with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Love that. So Shane, if we were talking earlier about like levers that you can pull in advertising, content marketing. If there was one lever that you could pull and that's it, what would it be to like grow your business? What would that be?
From a marketing standpoint?
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on what works best for you. I mean, for some industries, it's Facebook. For others, it's, for me, thank God for Google, or organic rank in Google, starting out. So it kept us alive,
Yeah.
But you can only do so much with that. So I think for a lot of businesses or services, it's AdWords,
Yeah.
It really is. I know guys who really quick out of the gate could generate, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year just off having a good AdWords guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
A lot of money really quick. And if there's too much work that flows in, raise your prices, right? Up your game, raise your prices. You'll start to weed out the more cheaper people and just go from there, man. I've seen it so many times with friends where they just are killing it within year 1, year 2, just off AdWords. Yep.
And it's quick. And if you can get that return relatively quickly, I mean, there's going to be some kind of a lag in the beginning. You've got to nurture leads. You're not necessarily just going to convert people. Your conversion's not going to be as high as it ultimately is once you've established yourself, once you've run some ads for a little while, and once you've retargeted and done all the right things. But it's so much quicker than other marketing methods. But I still do love content. What's with your content strategy? Are you creating, are you identifying primary keywords that like you really want to go after, that if you could advertise for, you would be advertising for, but you can't? So you then identifying those primary keywords and then like structuring like a content silo around them, with multiple pages
I'm not so much, I don't know so much about the organic stuff. I'm just trying to create really good content that's going to keep people coming back.
Yep.
And so I've been able to grow my own following, okay.
Yep.
Just thought, and really working on, catchy headlines and stuff like that, to where it's like, so just my focus is just on really offering huge amounts of relevant value. That's my thing. So
I love it. Yeah. I think you can really get wrapped up in all these and all the minutia of organic ranking and how to do it. And like, if you're talking about, blogging, let's say you've got, and websites, you've got metadata, and you've got, you can optimize header tags, and you can, not keyword stuff, but you can get like semantically relevant keywords all in, optimized in your blog. And there's so many different things that you can do that sometimes it's important to just step back and be like, I'm just going to write really great content. Google is converging on figuring out exactly what customers want and what they're, what's really valuable to them. So ultimately, if you're writing really great content for the customer, Google's going to figure that out. And Google, you're eventually going to start ranking higher. There's obviously things you can do to accelerate that, but I love that approach where you just keep it simple and just write great content and focus on that.
Yeah, and in reality, the keywords, hashtags and stuff, I should be more diligent about that. I mean, I'm working hard enough as it is, creating, catchy thumbnails and headlines and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So really trying to, from an organic ranking standpoint, so I just show up in people's feed.
Yep.
important searches. I really should be doing better about that.
Yeah. And are you more focused on social? When we're talking about content, are you more focused on social or like blog text type?
Right now, where I'm at now is focusing on social.
Yeah. Okay.
Getting on podcasts, sticking out, getting big names on my podcast, and just really providing value.
Yeah. That's it, man. I love it. It all kind of boils down to that.
It really does. Relevant value.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think we could talk a while about all this stuff or really dig into certain marketing topics. So we'll have to have you back on the show, man.
I enjoyed this. I've been doing a lot of podcasts. This was a fun one.
Yeah. Awesome. Love to hear it. I love to hear it. So yeah, I think that's a wrap for this episode. From myself and from Clint, who's not here. I know he'd be excited about this episode too. Shane, we really want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us and adding value to what we're doing on our podcast.
Cool, man. Yeah. Thank you for having me on. And I'll talk to you next time.
For sure. Yeah. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you all so much for listening to That Entrepreneur Life. To learn more about what Shane is working on and how he can help you, check out his podcast, Carrying the Fire, and his ebook, Carrying the Fire. Is there another way that people can reach out to you? Maybe Instagram?
Yeah, so I just wrote an ebook for how entrepreneurs in competitive markets can not only win, but dominate their market. It's carryingthefire.io/ebook. It's completely free. Check it out.
Cool. Yeah. And if you like what you heard today, please subscribe to our podcast and don't forget to download our free ebook about the success mindset at thatentrepreneurlife.com. Thanks for continuing to support what we do as entrepreneurs. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode of That Entrepreneur Life.
Thanks for listening to That Entrepreneur Life podcast. Be sure to visit thatentrepreneurlife.com to join the conversation, access our show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode as we continue to add value. Until next time.